Hello again. Today we're going to be talking about fractions, decimals, and percents, and how to convert between each one. So really easy. These are all just examples of rational numbers here. So we've talked about rational numbers quite a bit. So when we're talking about fractions, fractions are really just a little division problem. So this 2/5 here means we're just taking 2 and dividing it into 5 parts, or we could say that in words by saying 2 divided by 5, or taking 2 and dividing it into 5 even pieces, which if we do that division here real quick, well, 5 goes into 2 0 times, so we just add a decimal. And 5 goes into this 20 here 4 times. So this is 0.4 as a decimal. 2/5 is. So a fraction is just a part here of a one, or we can say whole piece. So if we're saying 4 parts is equal to 1 here, then if we have 10 parts, oops, it's a little sloppy, but 10 parts, then this is just 2 1/2. So different ways we can write fractions and turn them into decimals there. So percent means per 100 or out of 100, so it's just a number compared to 100 as a fraction. So we can think about this with dollars and cents. So 100 cents makes a whole dollar. So 45 cents is just 45 100ths of that dollar. So we can write the same number in a bunch of different ways. So we've got we can fractions, decimals, and percents. So all of these numbers are actually equal to each other. They're just written in different forms. So if we want to turn a fraction into a decimal, we just have to divide out the division problem. So they're taking 3 divided by 4 here for 3/4, divide it out, and you get 0.75 in the end. So we can just work through that real quick. So 4 will go into 3 0 times. It'll go into 30 7 times, and that's 28 remainder with 2. And then finally 4 goes into 20 5 times. And then you can check it and get 0 for your remainder, but that is 0.75, so that's how they got to that decimal there. Alright, so in order to turn a decimal to a percent now, we're just going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right, and then add our percent symbol. So this 0.025 here gets moved over twice, and that's how they get that 2.5% there. 1 whole and 47 100ths as a percent. Move that to the right, add your percent sign, that's how they get 147% here. So to turn a percent back into a decimal, we're just going to do the opposite of that. So I'm going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left and remove the percent symbol. So here we have 3 whole percents, and we are moving our decimal point left to get this 0.03. 427%, well, they're moving this decimal 2 places to the left to get 4.27, and I think we get the idea that we're just taking our decimal, moving 2 places to the left, and we get our decimal representation of that number. So in order to turn a decimal into a fraction, we're going to write the decimal using place value words, and then we're going to use what we said as the fraction with the denominator of 100. So then you say, I guess, what fraction we did as 100. So 0.05, we're at the tenths and 100ths place. So there's our denominator of 100. And we are having, with its decimal, 5/100ths. So that's how they get there. And then we always want to reduce these fractions. We want to simplify when possible. So for this one here, we've got 2 and 75/100ths, because we're in the 100ths place. So they just rewrite that out, and then they simplified that fraction. So if we can think about it in dollars and cents, 75 cents is, well, 3/4 if we're thinking money-wise there. And then finally, to turn a percent into a fraction, this is pretty easy. We just write the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100, and then we always simplify when possible. So 4%, that just means we're taking 4 out of 100 here, and reduce it, and 4 out of 100 is 1/25 when we reduce, because we can divide by 4 up top, divide by 4 on the bottom. So that gets us our 1 there, that gets us our 25 there. Same thing, 350%. Well, this is just 350 out of 100 here. Divide that out, and 350 divided by 100, well, that gives us our 3 whole parts there. And then we have 50 left over out of 100, which of course simplifies down. Divide by 50, divide by 50, and we get 3 1/2, just like they did over here for our answer. And then below that, we just have some common fractions and decimals that we want to kind of keep in mind and memorize here. So I will let you all, well, let's place a couple on our number line. Let's do this little grouping right here. So if we are calling this point A, then 1/4 is 0.25. So if we have from 0 to 1/2 here, then 1/4 is going to be exactly half of that. Excuse me. If our next point is B, well then this is 1/3, so we're thinking of splitting this thing in 2/3. That might not quite be accurate there. Let me just try to fix this a little bit. Maybe right about there. Alright, so 1/3 is going to be one of these 3 pieces that makes the whole. So we have B. We're going to call C 2/5. Well, that is 0.4, so kind of the same thinking. We're splitting this into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 equal sections, and we are using not 1, but 2 of those fifths. So here is C, and then finally 3/8. We split it in half, we split it in 1/4, and we split it into 1/8 here. Kind of hard to see, but if we call D 3/8, then we're just taking 1, 2, and 3 of these 1/8 that we've split our whole into. So just continue placing these on your number line here to practice with figuring out how much of a whole we're dealing with for these common fractions. And then after you finish that up, we've got our independent practice for this 1-10 that is linked in our Canvas. And then after that, there is an IXL strand as well to practice on. So go ahead and take care of those things. Make sure you are submitting your assignments when you finish them up.